URL, short for Uniform Resource Locator. It's a reference or address to a particular resource on the World Wide Web that specifies its location as well as a mechanism for retrieving it. This is a URL, and so is this. They look similar, but not the same. From a structural point of view, they're differently composed, but in terms of where they'll take you, they're basically the same thing. They both take you to the same page. So, what's the difference? Well, simply in the amount of space they take up. Introducing URL shortening. URL shortening is a technique that makes it possible to take an existing URL, modify it in a way that will make it substantially shorter, and still have it direct to the same web page. The way this is achieved is very simple. Every shortened URL basically uses a redirect which links to the initial web page that has a long URL. For example, this URL can be manually shortened simply by taking this part and replacing it with this. A shortened version of a YouTube video URL can also be acquired automatically by using the direct share option beneath the video player. Of course, this was made possible after YouTube launched its own URL shortener, U2.B, in December 2009. As demonstrated in this example, it's common for redirects to contain domain names that are shorter than the original ones. This is done not only for the purpose of shortening the URL, but sometimes even for creating something that is known as a domain hack, which can be achieved by connecting two or more adjacent domain levels that form a name, word, or phrase. For example, inter.net, which uses the generic top-level domain .net in order to complete the word internet, or U2.B, which uses the country code top-level domain for Belgium .b in order to complete the name of YouTube. Back in the day, URL shortening was sort of a trend. It seemed as though all the major players were doing it. In December 2009, Google launched its own URL shortener that could be used through the Google toolbar and FeedBurner, but was later made available through a separate website named goo.gul. While Google service can be used to shorten just about any long URL, some websites have URL shortening systems that are only available for links posted to their own platform. Like Twitter, which applies a t.co wrapper to all links that are shared on their website. Of course, let's not forget FB.me, which you can type in your web browser's address bar to open the Facebook homepage. You can also type fb.me / any username you'd like in order to link to a particular user profile page. Besides these systems that are developed by companies like Google, Twitter, and Facebook, you also have general URL shortening services provided by websites like tinyURL and Bitly. tinyURL was launched in 2002 by web developer Kevin Gilbertson, who simply wanted to post links in newsgroups. His problem was that the web addresses would often be very long, so he came up with a solution. tinyURL gained a lot of popularity with its URL shortening service, so much that it influenced the creation of at least 100 similar websites. Established in 2008, Bitly, on the other hand, is a service that is reported to shorten around 600 million links per month and is known for making money by charging for access to aggregate data generated through the use of its shortened URLs. And that's actually one of the benefits many URL shortening sites offer, as they can provide detailed information on the clicks a link receives, which is often a simpler way of getting this kind of information than having to set up an equally powerful analytics tool or service. URL shortening can make life easier when sharing links on websites like Twitter, where the number of characters a post can carry is limited. Of course, Twitter does its own URL shortening, but on sites that don't, services like Bitly and tinyURL make it possible to post links that would normally exceed the maximum number of characters. There's also the fact that shorter URLs generally tend to be more aesthetically pleasing than longer ones, and are also much easier to memorize, if necessary. Now, you might ask, who memorizes URLs? But I'm sure someone does. After all, one might also ask, who watches videos about URL shortening? Well, apparently you. And for that, thanks. And as always, stay strong.